With ZipRecruiter.com, you can post your job to 100 plus job sites, including social media networks like Facebook and Twitter, all with a single click. Just post once and watch your qualified candidates roll into ZipRecruiter's easy-to-use interface. Find out today why ZipRecruiter has been used by over 1 million businesses. Right now, our listeners can post jobs on ZipRecruiter for free by going to ZipRecruiter.com/call. That's ZipRecruiter.com/CALL. Hello, welcome to Call Your Girlfriend,
a podcast for long-distance besties everywhere.
This week on our agenda, we'll be talking about babies, and not everybody knows if they want them. We'll also be discussing that terrible #1 Billboard song, and why Alessandra Stanley is really horrible and Shonda Rhimes is the best human alive. We'll also be discussing the End Campus Rape movement and Emma Sulkowicz, and we'll have some updates about periods.
Hi, Amina. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
I just ate a ton of this carrot tahini slaw, like probably too much. I made like party size and ate it all. California problems. But other than that, I'm great.
I know. I made this like falafel sandwich with lavash bread, and I'm so happy. It was like falafel and every cucumber. It's just the best.
Now that we have the food update, lately I've also, probably because I'm finally like home and in homebody mode, been seized by an urge to text friends my current like eating watching status. If I were a tech bro, I would create an app for like what I'm eating and watching right now, like white wine, Entourage, Cheetos.
I mean I think that's Facebook, right? Tell me what else is going on? What did you write about this week?
People, ladies in particular, but also dudes who legit can't figure out if they want children. And my inbox is full of people being like, not outright, like, tell me what I should do, because I did not claim to, like, know what anyone should do, but basically being like, ugh, how does anyone know? Like, just befuddled by how people can be so sure they do or don't want kids.
Do they really not want children, or do they just think it's, like, not cool to have kids, but secretly they want them?
Well, let me tell you, this woman I interviewed who has interviewed lots of women. So basically, like, rather than interview hundreds of women, I interviewed one woman who has interviewed hundreds of women.
You're so efficient.
And, I mean, or lazy. She was like, in my experience, if you're on the fence, it probably means you don't want kids. And, like, you're just wrestling with intense social pressure that says you should want them, and you have taken to heart your older relatives' pleas that you have children, and you're just afraid that you're going to die alone with no one to care for you. She didn't say it like that, but basically that's what she said. which is very different than the touchy-feely Cheryl Strayed, look deep within your heart, do some soul searching. She was basically like, yeah, come to terms with the fact that you probably don't want them all that much. That felt definitive, you know. I can't remember if that quote made the cut, because I felt like part of the thing about everyone ambivalent I did talk to was that they didn't want anyone to tell them how they really felt. No, like they weren't like, oh, I'm not looking for you to interpret my actions about what I really want. I just want to sit here and be confused.
Yeah,
Which,
no.
Like, fair enough.
But yeah, no, that sounds about fair.
My favorite comment, or one of them, was from our pal, internet pal, feminist writer Kate Harding, who made a comment along the lines of, I'm so glad I don't have a uterus anymore and it made the decision for me.
I know, I saw her say that, and I'm like, I heart that so much, because sometimes your body chooses for you.
Truth. And also I've enjoyed the number of comments I've gotten from men, because it's always hard for me to tell whether I just don't spend time talking to men about their feelings, or whether men actually don't think about some of this
Who knows?
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, the thing about that whole conversation, I guess, for me, that's that I always come back to. Like a couple of years ago, I watched this documentary at South by Southwest. God, I forget what it's called, but it's basically about the lady who does all the like high risk pregnancy documentaries on Discovery Channel.
I wish you could see me crossing my legs right now when you said that.
Oh my God, I'm like obsessed with what I'm just like, this is the best kind of birth control. But so, yeah, she did this whole like really great documentary on in vitro fertilization and followed 4 different women. And the thing about the whole like, do I want babies, do I not want babies conversation that's always so shocking to me is how like people's definition of family is so narrow. Really what you're saying is, do I want to poop out my own baby? That's the holy grail of like womanhood. And then all these people that have like IVF and are really ashamed of it, or, you know, or lie about it, or have surrogates and don't talk, like all of this stuff. And that stuff like costs so much money. Like having your own kids is really, especially like when your body's not cooperating, costs so much money. And then you have like adoption or all of these other ways that you can form your own family that are on the other end of the spectrum.
But that are also expensive.
Yeah, and you know that are expensive, you know, like depending on where you live, to be fair, but nowhere near as mortgaging your house for IVF. But yeah, it's like if you want to go to Romania and get a baby, I'm sure that'll cost you a lot of money. That was really interesting to me, how it's just this really strong biological imperative. Whereas, like, I feel very agnostic about it. I'm a very much, like, never say never kind of person. If I really want to have kids badly and, you know, I can afford it, I'll probably just, like, buy one, like a purse.
But I think that that's the lesson, right? There's no biological imperative. It's just, like, actual deep-seated personal desire. Whatever you might call a biological urge to reproduce is not that.
No, totally. I can't wait till you can shop for babies by, like, IQ and hair color and like an online store. Bring the future. I want that. I'm a terrible person.
Your dystopian baby shopping future.
Can't wait.
Oh my God, this goes back to our conversation about needing gay babies. Are we going to be able to pre-select for that?
I want a gay, redhead, smart baby.
And I ginger gay,
and not just relevant. Like book smart. I want like a street smart baby. Like, you know, like how do you screen for that?
I think that's like a post-birth thing that you instill, P.S. Like, I don't think they're born street smart.
The street smart gene. You know, some people have it, some people don't have it.
Have you ever met an infant that you've definitively thought this kid is street smart when, like, it's too young to even walk?
You know, I have this one little cousin. Every time I look at him, he's like, what, like 2.5, 3? God, maybe 4. Who knows? Child. But he always has this like permanent scowl on his face, you know, like somebody owes him money or something, and I'm like, you are going to be like a great old man because he's so fucking skeptical.
Blue Ivy over it face.
All the time.
We were going to call that ansplaining, but I don't really have any ansplaining takeaways except that, like, newsflash, some people don't know if they want babies.
Okay. It's like babies. It's like the third rail for me. I can't. Or rather, I just don't want to talk about it.
I mean, every photo of you holding a baby, you're making the same face.
I know, me and the baby, right? Like, we're both like, please don't drop me. And I'm like, please don't poop on me. Like, we're so on it. The thing that
There's
I
a
do.
lot of fear.
And have you ever seen, like, a baby being born?
I mean, I went to Catholic school. They definitely showed us those
no,
videos.
like
under the guise
IRL,
of
like
Miracle
not in the
of
video,
Life.
like been
Oh my
in
God,
the room.
no, not IRL.
Oh my God,
no.
I've seen 2 C-sections and 1 like vaginal birth. Is that what they're called? Yes.
Yes.
So the C-sections are kind of totally impressive because they just like cut you open and they dig in there for it. And I was like, I'm so down for this. But vaginal birth is just, like, never again. And I was in the room and, like, my aunt was crying and the nurse was like, isn't this beautiful? And I was like, I need a bucket. I'm going to throw up. This is the grossest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah. I don't really know what to say about that. And I don't think even if my sister had a baby, I'd be in the room. Let's be real.
Don't worry.
So,
if by some accident I have a baby, you have to be there.
I mean, obviously, I'll be the one vomiting into a bucket.
I know, but it would have to be like some sort of like crazy fluke. Like the government is forcing me to have a baby. Like it would have to be like extreme.
I love how all scenarios involving babies in your world are immediately a dystopian future. You're like, I want to select my baby from a conveyor belt. The only way I'm having one is if the government makes me have one.
Yeah, no, I mean, I really like. It's not part of my like you know, it's not part of my 5-year plan. It's not part of my 10-year plan. Like, who knows? Who knows? Who knows?
Right.
Maybe I'll just buy a cute baby.
Although, final word on this, I will say that one of the things that several experts said to me is that, like, most people don't age into making up their minds. And so if you are like a 25-year-old woman who has no clue if she wants kids, or a 30-year-old woman who has no clue if she wants kids, it's a good thing to start thinking about before you're 37, and then deciding, oh, maybe I do, because you're forced by, like, you know, not wanting to pay for IVF to actually consider it.
I know this because I subscribe to the Spotify Billboard playlist. What's up?
Is that how you stay in touch with the kids these days?
I mean, mostly the kids and Maroon 5, you know? That's how I know what's going on at all times. But so it's by this like a woman named Meghan Trainor, and the song is called All About That Bass. It's on the R&B. It's like supposed to be like an R&B pop single. No, it's like ska, pop. Like, the video is deeply offensive to me because it's like all pastel macaroons. And so, but also it's like extra offensive because it masquerades as this like really body positive anthem. And, you know, it's like, hi.
Where
like,
bass is a euphemism for a big ass.
Yeah, no, it's like I hate lyrics that are nonsensical. Like, unless you're Kanye, like, you can't get away with that shit. And she's like,
God, please do a dramatic reading of her lyrics.
The chorus is like, I'm all about that bass. I'm all about the bass. No treble. LOL. I'm gonna like let that slide. But here are like the problematic lyrics. Yeah, it's pretty clear. I ain't no size 2, but I can shake it like I'm supposed to, because I got that boom boom that all the boys chase. Like, no, Meghan Trainor, absolutely not. Don't like make fun of smaller size ladies and then still like bring up the point that, you know, basically it's just all about the boys.
Don't try to ride the anaconda wave, like, and then hate on other types of bodies.
Listen, white ladies have been trying to ride the anaconda wave all summer. I'm gonna, like, in your free time, please look up the new J-Lo video and, like, die. But yeah, and then, you know, the rest of the lyrics. I see the magazine working that Photoshop. We know that shit ain't real. Come on now, make it stop. If you got beauty building, just raise them up. Because every inch of you is perfect from the bottom to the top. So it's like, you know, ladies hear this shit and they go, oh my God, like, fat girls, let's all get together. And it's like, no, like, anybody who tells you that they're like, quote, lyric, bringing booty back, like, you can't trust them. This is the actual lyric. I'm bringing booty back. Go ahead and tell them skinny bitches that. No.
Ugh. This is some anti-shine theory bullshit.
No, it's so bad. And because, like, the video is so, like, pop, shiny, like, whatever, everybody's like, this song is all about, like, loving your body and your booty. And no, it's, like, there's no such thing as, like, real bodies. Don't buy that shit.
I'm going to quote our friend Jen Mizgata, who says, bodies are different.
Yeah.
It is the thing that she always says when anyone is comparing their body to anyone else. Bodies are different, period.
No, seriously, like, don't be charmed by, like, songs with upbeat beats. It's bullcrap. But then the best thing happened. Like, clearly I would, like, went down this rabbit hole. It was like, who the fuck is Meghan Trainor? Like, find out. And then
investigative Google reporting.
Yeah, I investigated this lady, and let me tell you, I tweeted at her. I was so angry. She told Billboard, I do not consider myself a feminist. And I was like, you know, I sound like one of those crazy people. Like, I'm angry at somebody on the radio, so I'm going to go find them and tweet at them.
Not even on the radio, on the Billboard top tracks list on Spotify.
Yeah,
let's be real.
Listen, she's #1 today. She just knocked Tay Swizzle out of the charts. So this is like a big deal. And yeah, and she's like, I don't consider myself a feminist. And I was like, don't worry, Meghan. Nobody was confused about the fact that you knew what feminism was. Like,
we don't consider you one either. It's okay.
I hate fake body positivity. You have to see this video. It's like all these ladies in like baby doll 60s dresses. The whole thing looks like a like pastel macaron. Like, it's just gross.
It's so the worst of middle school mean girls to be like, to feel good about ourselves, we're going to talk about how actually everything else is worse.
No, totally. And also it's like, you know, it's so easy to make fun of ladies that are size 2s, but I'm like, you don't look like you're a size 16, 18, or 20 lady, like, if you want to play this game. you know?
Oh well, that's like the game of calling anything over a size like too curvy. That's the game that she is playing.
But the truth is this, that a lot of like smart ladies on the internet have made this point. She's not a feminist because she's like a dum-dum. But the song is probably going to be like a really good gateway to feminism for like, you know, I don't know, like all these brand new baby feminists. Ugh.
I think that when I look back on things that I really liked in my formative pre-using the word feminist, but kind of feminist years, there's a lot of stuff that now I would be like, ugh, no. But, you know, like...
Maybe if I'm also like really honest, the kind of thing that like just like, ugh, really annoys me about this kind of person, you know, who's like, I'm not a feminist. And then like 5 years later, she's going to be like, I didn't know Maroon 5 was making more money than me on the Billboard charts. I'm a feminist now. Is that, you know, they always act that like feminism is like new relative to where their journey starts. And it's like, no, like shut the fuck up. Like some of us have been here for a long time. And, you know, if I'm really honest, like that's what makes me really annoyed.
Okay, but like not that I'm defending the I'm not a feminist but like honestly feminism is relevant to wherever you are on your like personal journey. Like how comfortable you are with using that term totally depends on how much you know about like real life feminists.
No, that's fair. And I hope that like in your personal life you make it seem that way, you know, but then they like publicly become these like, oh my God, like, let's organize everybody. Here's this brand new idea I've had. And I'm like, I don't think so.
I think it's okay, though. Like, I think that there have to be people who are like, here's this brand new idea I have, like Taylor Swift talking about Shine Theory for things to spread.
No, I don't think those two things are the same thing.
I mean, I just wanted to comment about how we got there first. That's
I mean, Anne, when have we not been there first? God, I sound like such an asshole today. It's not my fault. I don't have forks at my house. I'm like very annoyed.
You've been on an all sandwich diet, which is apparently rage-inducing.
It's just like everything is rage.
Because you know I'm all about the bass, no treble. I'm all about the bass, no treble. I'm all about the bass, no treble. I'm all about the bass,
Speaking of like another... Just had another delicious Blue Apron meal. Tonight was seared cod and udon noodles. It was pretty delicious. Each meal comes with step-by-step, easy-to-follow recipe card and pre-portioned ingredients and usually can be prepared in less than 40 minutes. That's a pretty good deal. Check out this week's menu and get your first 3 meals free with free shipping by going to blueapron.com/girlfriend. That's blueapron.com/girlfriend. Blue Apron, a better way to cook. Are you hiring? Do you know where to post your job to find the best candidates? Posting jobs in one place isn't enough to find quality candidates. If you want to find the perfect hire, you need to post your job in all the top job sites, and now you can. With ZipRecruiter.com, you can post your job to 100 plus job sites, including social media networks like Facebook and Twitter, all with a single click. Find candidates in any city or industry nationwide. Just post once and watch your qualified candidates roll into ZipRecruiter's easy-to-use interface. No juggling emails or calls to your office. Quickly screen candidates, rate them, and hire the right person fast. Find out today why ZipRecruiter has been used by over 1 million businesses. And right now, listeners can post jobs on ZipRecruiter for free by going to ZipRecruiter.com/call. That's ZipRecruiter.com/call. Hey, Anne, I went to callyourgirlfriend.com and it looks different.
Oh my God, listen, I gave us such an upgrade. I use Squarespace and now all of our shit looks so good.
I am so impressed. It's like the website looks shiny and new, and more importantly, the shop has launched.
Oh my God. Squarespace has all this commerce functionality that is making it, I won't say easy because nothing is ever easy when you are a micro business like CYG, but making it as easy as possible for us to sell stuff and look good while we do it and tell people all about our podcast.
I'm so excited about this because you essentially set up that website in 10 minutes. And
I have no special skills or abilities.
I know, and you were able to like hook up the domain, like do the redirects. I'm so proud of you. All of that with no tech abilities. So thank you, Squarespace. And
thank you, Anne.
Thank you, Anne. And you know, the other great thing is that Squarespace offers 24/7 customer support. So everybody on the customer care team is an experienced Squarespace user, and they can help you with anything that you need. So why not?
If you need a personal website, if you have a podcast you're trying to promote, if you're trying to sell something online, Squarespace is a great answer for you. You can start a free trial today at squarespace.com and enter code GIRLFRIEND to get 10% off your first purchase.
Squarespace, set your website apart. Ragey thing. It's obviously like everybody else on the internet or who like reads the Sunday New York Times, you probably read the Shonda Rhimes article, or as our Jewish friends like to call it, Shonda's Shonda.
You mean the angry black woman article?
Yeah, no, it was so ridiculous. One, Alessandra Stanley, wrong on so many things. I thought that the New York Times public editor did a really serviceable job about like trying to get to the bottom of how this happened and things that are shocking about this article. It went through three editors looked at it, which what? So I was like, I'm outraged about a tight edit? This is crazy. The bottom line is, hi, there's like 20 culture critics at the New York Times and only one of them is a person of color. Maybe diversify your sources and you'll know that saying like angry black woman anywhere in an article about a black woman, like no matter what like clever writing device you think you're using, as our grad school friends say, a little problematic.
I mean, also this is about who gets to subvert a stereotype. I think there are people who have a history of writing about the representation of women in culture who could very effectively write something that is about how Shonda Rhimes actually subverts that stereotype. Like, I can totally see the piece. It is not this piece. It is not something that could ever be written by Alessandra Stanley or edited by 3 different, presumably white, we're not sure, culture editors at the New York Times. It is just like, it's the wrong context for something like that anyway. It's one of those things where it's like, know your place. It's an appalling situation as well of being like, oh, since I sat down with an interview with this person, I'm sort of like close enough now, or people will just know it's winking. Isn't that what she said? Isn't that what she told the public?
Yeah, but I guess like there's like 2 problems for me, right? That anger is very one-dimensional when it comes to black women. And it's an offensive stereotype, right? And she's like 100% aware of it. Like that's the first problem.
Right.
And the second problem is that she makes it very personal. If she had actually interviewed Shonda Rhimes or she had like a quote about that, I think that would have mitigated my like anger, but it's just so tone deaf. That's what Margaret Sullivan, the New York Times public editor, said. She was like astonishingly tone deaf and out of touch. I was like, yes, thank you.
But what I think is really interesting is tone is one of those things that's used in all corners of journalism to describe like, gut level feelings, or like, when people say tone deaf, what they mean is it's wrong. Like she did something wrong. And it's almost like this cover to be like, oh, when you say tone deaf, it's like, oh, the substance of what she wrote was okay, but the sort of the way she got at it was wrong. Actually, no, the substance of what she wrote was wrong and stupid. It's funny because in talking about even good writing, tone is used the same way. Like, oh, the tone was just spot on. It's like, well, what do you mean? Like which words? Or like, casual conversation or using stereotypes in a certain way. Like, I mean, I don't know.
But
just
also,
say it's bad.
yeah. Also, just like for a TV writer, I'm like, do you actually watch Scandal? Like, do you actually watch Grey's Anatomy? Because the angry women on those shows are like the white women. And,
the angriest white women.
Yeah, like Melly's so angry all the time for good reasons. Let's be clear. But also like Meredith Grey, like always angry and fighting all the time. And, it's like, where's the like angry white lady stereotype? It's just so stupid, and Shonda Rhimes like so accomplished. And in just like a couple of sentences, you just like kind of reduce her to nothing. And I was like, well, if Shonda Rhimes is nothing, then I'm kind of nothing. Like, fuck you. Ugh.
And the very fact that she had no idea that, like, that's what I mean, I honestly believe that she did not know that she was reducing Shonda Rhimes to nothing. Like, I honestly believe that,
I know, Anne, that's like the definition of white privilege.
Exactly. And like a newsroom culture of like lots of people who aren't attuned to the real implications of using phrases like angry black woman.
Ugh. Can I tell you my favorite thing that Shonda Rhimes has ever done, though? It's not even Scandal.
Please.
She wrote the debut film for pop star Britney Spears, aka Crossroads.
Shut the front door.
100%.
Shonda Rhimes wrote Crossroads.
Yes, and I don't know how to tell you this. That's the movie that bought her house, fool.
One of my favorite drinking games of all time is related to watching Crossroads.
What?
Take a drink every time you see someone in cut off denim. Take a drink every time Britney sings for no reason. I have a whole like.
And it
drinking
really
game
hurts
with
me that we've never talked about this before. I have like a full size Britney Spears poster from Crossroads.
Oh my god. I should have spent a little more time on Shonda's IMDb page.
And don't even get me started on like calling Viola Davis like classically not beautiful. That's just racist.
Oh,
that's just like, you just can't. I'm like, sorry, no, like the race police, like we have decided, like that is racist.
I think instead of Amina-splaining, we should call your segment the Race Police.
Oh my god. You know I run the race police.
I know you do.
We have meetings every Monday morning.
I take the minutes sometimes, but when I'm allowed in.
Listen, we haven't let a white person in the race police meetings in decades.
That was heavy.
That was really heavy. Well, I'll tell you about like one more heavy thing, but it's kind of like it's okay. It's about Emma Solkowitz, that woman that goes to Columbia who is doing the performance art piece where she's carrying her mattress to class because she was raped in her college dorm room years ago, and so like the mattress signifies that, and that's what she's doing. So there's been some really good writing on this. My favorite, honestly, is this like New York Times piece about the actual performance by like Roberta Smith, who's my favorite art critic. You know, like usually I'm like not down for performance art, but this is really touching. And there's this like fantastic picture. I got really emotional mushy about it the other day of, you know, like she's carrying the mattress to class and all these women are helping her carry it. And I was like, oh my God, campus rape, so much problems.
I saw that picture as well and got the same full body chill. It's interesting because did you read the New York Magazine piece about it, which is sort of about the broader nation? I mean, it's focused on Columbia, which is where she goes to school, but it's focused on the national movement, and it's interesting because I thought their portrayal of there are two activists in their early 20s who are the full-time employees of End Rape on Campus, which is the nonprofit that is sort of coordinating a lot of these efforts and bringing Title IX lawsuits against these universities for not dealing with it. And I thought it was really interesting the way Vanessa Grigoriadis wrote the piece and the way she kind of characterized how savvy these women are, sort of being like, oh, you know, it's both about, you know, a national story, but also there's these hyper specific stories that, you know, that all matter, and here's how we tie them together. And I was loving it because I'm like, this is so smart about how reporters actually put together stories in a way to actually get people to talk about it. And it seemed like Vanessa Grigoriadis was like a little bit skeptical of them for some reason. Like she was kind of like, oh, they know they're really good at this, almost to the point where maybe she was feeling a little manipulated or something.
I know, right? But the reason that they're good at it is because they're like under assault everywhere around the country, right? Like one thing that I love about this and, you know, like campus rape movement that's so great is that anytime like some old lady's like, what happened to like women protesting and like organizing and, you know, like why don't the young women care? And I'm like, they care. They're like on college campuses organizing all around the country.
Right. The difference is you are not on college campuses, so you don't see it.
I know. Can I tell you a really sad thing? There, somebody, I think it was on Feministing, yes, wrote up they like went to a dinner with Ruth Bader Ginsburg, spirit animal of this podcast. She was like, do women know, like, do young women today, like, know how important Roe v. Wade is? Like, do they know the price that, like, women had to pay before them? Like, why aren't they organizing? And I was like, what? How do you think you get to be, like, a famous internet person if it wasn't for, like, young feminists? Hello? Who do you think is, like, anointing you cool, Ruth Bader Ginsburg?
Do you think that some of that is just old person oblivion? I mean, like, I just read this book about the history of the birth control pill, which quotes Planned Parenthood founder Margaret Sanger. Problematic, also influential.
So problematic.
Anyway, tabling that, we can talk about that later. But who has some quote, near the end of her life, like in the 60s, early 60s, maybe late 50s, where she's like, kids these days, they don't know anything we fought for.
No, I know.
It's funny because, like, when I'm reading this, and she's saying this in the late 50s, birth control isn't legal yet, abortion is years from being legal. She's, like, a straight-up racist, eugenicist. I'm kind of like...
We talk about her at race police meetings. It's cool.
I mean, but my question when I read that quote is sort of like, well, like, maybe you don't want them to be grateful for, like, the stuff that you did because, like, that's a generation that grew up to do, like, their own set of amazing activist things that maybe in some, like, long view of history you laid a lot of groundwork for. But maybe it doesn't matter that you feel, that you as an older person really feel that the young kids are on top of it. All that matters is the young kids are actually on top of it. And so I'm kind of like, Ruth, doesn't matter if you don't see it, it's happening.
Like, whenever I hear, like, these, like, old second wave feminists say that kind of stuff, I'm like, I think what you're really trying to say is that you didn't raise a feminist. What are your children up to? If that's the only exposure that they have, in, like, say, maybe, like, the New York Times, and they're not hearing about these stories, it just means that the young people that you're around don't care, and maybe you have a part to play in that.
That is really interesting as well, because I was just thinking about Gloria Steinem, also problematic in her own way, but undeniably influential, who doesn't have children and who is someone who is sort of continually saying, like, the kids are all right, the kids are all right. And maybe when you don't have kids of your own who are disaffected by by the movement that you made your life out of, and all you're doing is hanging out with other people's kids who are super active, like, maybe you feel differently.
No, totally. Anyway, giving it up for, like, college women who, like,
best.
do all of this hard work, and yeah, they're the best.
When you and I were at the University of Missouri earlier this year, I was just like, you are all so much better than I was at this age. Like, you were just, like, so advanced. I loved it.
I mean, I'm gonna be a jerk and say I don't think they were more advanced than me in that age, but they're pretty rad.
Okay, fine. Speaking for myself. I'm comfortable admitting I was a late bloomer in nearly every respect, so...
I mean, I was just like, I'm from Europe. Like, I'm not I was like, what is happening here? I told you this in my, like, first feminism class in college when they were like, who here thinks they're feminist? I was the only person who raised my hand. And the class was, like, literally, like, Feminism 101. I was dying.
I mean, that's because you were in Feminism 101. If you had gone to sort of, like, like the politics of... I don't know, whatever, something. I don't even know what a fake feminist class is because I didn't take any. Like, I can't even make up a name for, like, a women's studies class.
It's always like women and I don't know. Like,
anyway, if you'd gone to something more advanced, maybe more hands would have gone up as opposed to...
I don't know, but it's like, why do you even come to why are you even here? Like, the class is like...
Easy credits.
I don't know, man. That shit is never easy credits. Oof. Anyway.
I'm saying that's the perception. Anyway.
It's like,
anyway.
Come argue with women. Easy credit.
I mean, I love arguing with women. I should have been a women's studies major. Maybe this is a good time to talk about menstruation.
Yeah, let's talk about periods.
Oh my god. We should talk about this video game that was made by baby feminists.
Yes, these, like, two baby feminists are the best. And I think they're like 16 or whatever. The game is called Tampon Run. It's great. And they coded the whole thing themselves. It's basically like Angry Birds, but instead of birds, you like launch tampons at your enemies. Like, what could be greater?
Do you pull them still bloody out of your vagina and pull like a riot girl?
No, I wish. But it's like really cool. I think the game is super clever and it's like very thoughtful. You know, like I'm just like really impressed that two 16-year-olds are just like we're like my bleeding's not the problem. Society's the problem. And yeah.
Yes. Take them to a meeting with Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Somebody install Tampon Run on her whatever Samsung Galaxy and make her play it.
Ruth is definitely rocking a flip phone, like doesn't know how to computer. Woof.
I have not played this game because I don't really play any games ever, but
That's crazy. I'm gonna send you a list of games you should be playing.
I mean, I don't know how to tell you this. I don't have time.
I don't know how to tell you this. You have time for some of these games. There's a Beyonce game out there right now that will like blow your mind.
I did play the Kim Kardashian game just so I could understand jokes on the internet.
Okay, I like when I meant games, I meant like games that made your brain stronger, not like. So like we're talking like numbers and letters.
I mean, Tampon Run is not a numbers and letters game.
Kind of. You have to stay really alert. It's good for hand-eye coordination. It's good for just like getting your moral compass together. Yeah, no, it's great.
Oh my God.
You know, and then the best. It's like it's like all of these bad guys are trying to steal your tampons, like, and you're trying to stop them. It's great.
Speaking of guys trying to steal your tampons, the other this week in menstruation news is my colleague at The Cut, Maureen O'Connor, wrote an article about, well, I think it's framed in terms of dudes, but really it's about people who are super into period sex. And I kind of loved it. In part because it's, you know, normal body stuff that like my intellectual brain and often like IRL does not gross me out at all, but somehow reading quotes about it was like super, super intense.
I mean, it's pretty gnar, like in a good way, but you know.
I don't know. It's one of those things too where I think I also have bad Terry Richardson connotations, you know, like Terry Richardson's well-known obsession with like tampons and all things menstrual has made it in my mind less totally fine than it is.
Yeah, bodies are gross, man, but you gotta embrace your like body grossness.
Do you think it is a relationship like fireable offense to say no to period sex?
To me, it is. But here I want to think this through. Well, you know, like one, I don't think that it's like a yes, it's like relationship problematic, but it's just, it's...
Or whatever, you're cut off from sex if you won't do it with me on my period.
Listen, you're not cut off from sex, but you will be heavily reprimanded and also made fun of, right? Also, like, here's the thing, you know, maybe this is TMI. Period sex is like the number one like gateway to shower sex. You know, it's like, hello, like where?
Some would say shower sex is the gateway to period sex. Just saying.
You know, however you want to. You know how I like love a luxurious tiled shower. So yeah, this is so TMI. But yeah, no, I mean, I think that dudes that make you feel weird about your body, like fuck them. That's not okay. Like a period is very normal. It's also, you know, like you're the one that's actually going through the bleeding, and we're very, you know, it's like from a young age you just learn to be like really self-conscious about it, and having somebody reinforce that even a little bit is not okay. I think that there are really tactful ways to say like, hey, I don't want to fuck you on your period, or I don't, you know, like whatever. I think that it's okay to
You think you can tactfully say, I don't want to fuck you on your period?
Yes, not in those words. But you know what I mean? I think that
break it to me tactfully that you don't want to have sex with me.
I think that if you say, hey, like, this is not for me. I've had dudes say that to me, and it's fine. I think that, again, it's all about that ominous word, tone. And it's all about tone and context, right? It's like how somebody approaches that. Like, if it's, everybody has preferences. I'm like, I get it. You know, like, I'm not going near somebody's butt, so it's okay. We can talk about, like, the butt, like, next week, because you know that, like, the butt is back, right?
I was gonna say, didn't you once tell me you wanted a pair of Juicy Couture velour pants with context on the butt instead of juicy?
Yes.
I'm gonna get ones that say tone, and we'll just be like
Just stay open-minded, kids. You never know.
I mean, you say that, and then there's a scene in this article where some guy is looking up at a woman with like a SpaghettiOs mouth situation, and like it just gets really real really fast.
No,
with
I
these
mean, like, it
descriptions.
all has to be real, right? Like, you can't be like, oh my god, I want somebody to like eat me out when I'm bloody, and then you like freak out when you see that their face. It's like you gotta think the whole thing through. It's just like, don't be a martyr for the sisterhood. Like, let's be real.
Context. Tone.
Yeah, again, like context and tone, helpful in like most sexual situations.
I feel like that we should just end now while we're on top.
I know. I'm like never gonna be president. It's like all of these conversations. I'm just like Teresa Heinz carrying myself. Like nobody will love me when I'm a politician's wife. Ugh.
I mean, I'm just imagining all of the clips that have been edited out and are going to be used in the ad against you, like the
On Fox
mudslinging
News.
campaign.
Oh
ad.
my god, it'll be like my proudest accomplishment. It's like,
Head of the race police,
here's the
advocate
whitey
of
tape.
shower sex.
Listen, don't knock shower sex. It's very hard in a tub, but in an actual stand-up shower, very civilized.
Ooh, is it hot in my room? I feel like I'm.
Yeah, we have lost like the PG-13 audience. Okay, lady.
I mean,
On that note, I'm gonna finish the second half of my sandwich.
oh my god, I love it. I hope there's something red on it.
Oh my god! Stop it.
Sriracha all over the sandwich.
Oh yeah, I should order some sriracha. Okay, probably on Amazon because I live in San Francisco and that's how we do groceries. So I think we should tell people where they can find us on the internet.
Oh my gosh. On Twitter at CallYRGF and at callyourgirlfriend.com and on iTunes. And you can also email us your questions or prompts, things you would like us to discuss, things you would like us not to discuss, like how we feel about period sex. And yeah, I think it's probably a good idea to just say see you on the internet.
Yeah, just pray about it. Period sex. Pray about it. See you on the internet. Bye, lady.
Bye.